Some are planning a family barbecue on this warm July Sunday. Others a trip to the zoo. But many are headed to Busch Stadium for the final game of the 3-game series with the Cubs. Cardinals hoping for a sweep here this afternoon. Rick Horton with Al Hrabosky. The Cardinals have played very, very well. Both pitching, defense, offense, it's all working for St. Louis.
Everything is going right for St. Louis in this series. They have just dominated against the Cubs. They've only allowed 1 run while they've scored 16. Look at the batting average difference. The hits have been impressive. And remember, yesterday when they scored 12 runs in the 7th inning, they had as many hits with runners in scoring position as they did on the 6-game road trip. The Cardinals have been playing very well.
Let's see if the Cardinals can finish the job here today. It's been a Cardinal flavor at Cooperstown. Pat Paris with more on that when we come back. Three-game weekend sweep of the Cubs here in St. Louis, and we welcome you back inside Busch Stadium in our Helitech desk. I'm Pat Paris. Barry Larkin and Ron Santo will be enshrined in baseball's Hall of Fame today in Cooperstown. Now, yesterday in upstate New York, the emphasis was on the Cardinals. Former catcher and longtime Fox Sports analyst Tim McCarver is this year's Ford C. Frick recipient. The Hall of Fame using the opportunity to celebrate the Cardinals and their 11 World Series championships. 3 former Redbirds managers on stage, Tony La Russa and Hall of Famers Whitey Herzog and Red Schoendienst.
Well, it's been outstanding just to be here today to welcome and have the new inductees this year. And, of course, standing up there with all the Hall of Famers behind me, it's always a thrill. And, of course, I know we're being honored here, the 3 of us, and it's a very big honor for me to be with 2 great managers right here.
I came to St. Louis in 1980, and they hadn't won since '68. They hadn't drawn 2 million people since '68. Last year, they're not last year, but that was the last time. And I look back, and we got it taken away from us in '81. We had the best record, but they split the season, and then we were able to win in '82. But if I have to say one thing, Musial and Schoendienst are still the Cardinals. When you talk about the history of the St. Louis Cardinals, it was Stan the Man and Redhead here when I came there. We've had some great managers, some great players, but it's still Musial, Schoendienst.
Yeah. 1996, you go to spring training in St. Petersburg, and you look around, and there's Musial, Schoendienst, Gibson, Brock. They're in uniform, and they kind of pull you aside and ask me whether I understood what it meant to have the birds on the bat. I was kind of clueless, but it didn't take long for them to explain the history, the tradition, and the expectation that each year every club would live up to. A lot of effort, a lot of execution, play in October. And I really do believe that standard is understood, appreciated by our players. It's embraced. And you have the Cardinal fans that will remind you as well. So it was a very easy transition, and every year you try as hard as you can to honor the history.
A great time yesterday, and great to see Cardinal fans getting along with Cub fans. Don't forget, after the game today on Fox Sports Midwest, join us for Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Cal Edward with analysis. We'll have plenty of reaction and highlights from around those key other NL Central matchups. Rick and Al look at today's starting pitchers coming up next. You are watching Cardinal Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest.
A no decision. He goes today for St. Louis as they try to sweep the Cubs, inching closer to baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. at home plate, just about ready for Cardinal baseball. The players are ready. We're ready. I hope you're ready. It's Cardinal baseball next on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime-A-Rita, the ready-to-drink margarita with a refreshing twist of Bud Light Lime. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. Clear skies at Busch Stadium. Final game between the Cubs and the Cardinals here at Busch Stadium. Here's the Cubs batting order brought to you by Southwest Airlines. De Jesus, Castro, and Rizzo, 1, 2, 3 in the order. Soriano, the veteran, LaHair, Clevenger, Barney, Valbuena, the third baseman, and the former Cincinnati Red left-hander Travis Wood will pitch. Lance Lynn will pitch for St. Louis. 18 starts on the season, 11-4 record, and he was outstanding in his last outing against Milwaukee. 10 strikeouts, a no decision in that game, but he was the Lance Lynn that we saw in the early going. Cardinals have won 12 of their last 16 meetings against the Cubs here at home and are hoping for a sweep here this afternoon. The defense behind Lance Lynn is as follows. Holiday, Jay, and Beltran left to right in the outfield. And the infield has Descalzo and Green up the middle. Freese and Craig at the corners. Tony Cruz behind the plate here this afternoon. And Lance Lynn will pitch our Dobbs Cardinals defense.
Lance Lynn been pitching very well since the All-Star break, and he picked up his 11th game 2 starts ago. Little equipment repair as they replaced his belt. And then his last start, he went 7 innings, 6 hits, only 1 run allowed. Struck out 10, no walks, got a no decision. And he is 2-0 this season against Chicago with a 1.35 ERA, 6-1, 2.61 ERA against the National League Central Division.
And as good as we've seen him in that last outing.
Yes, outstanding. So had that little rough period where about 4 starts just was unlike the rest of his season, but he's back on track and looking to pitch a whale of a ball game. He has a tough act to follow when you think about Loesch and Westbrook.
They were both very, very good. The Cardinals' pitching has been good since the All-Star break. Only San Francisco with a better ERA since the break.
And that's in the major leagues.
So first pitch is a fastball on the outside corner, strike one to David DeJesus.
And I think that's one of the things that he's gotten back to using that fastball. And he kind of started throwing a lot of breaking balls, got behind in the count, and lost his aggressiveness, but now he's back on the attack mode.
Been able to use that fastball both down in the strike zone and up in the strike zone.
Right. We always talk about the sinker, but he has a very explosive four-seam fastball, and a lot of times he'll keep the ball down, and then for effect he'll go up and get guys to chase.
DeJesus has hit the Cardinals well here at Busch Stadium. Average over 360, 1 for 3 yesterday. Decent speed. This Cubs lineup, 248 is their collective batting average. That puts them 11th in the league. They're pitching lower than that, 4.34 earned run average. They're 14th. So they really have some work to do. Dale Swaim, 48-year-old manager, has seen some rough patches, and one of those rough patches happened here in game 2 in the 7th inning.
Only the 7th inning. The Cardinals have scored 110 more runs on the season than the Cubbies.
Full count for DeJesus. And the pitch is high for a ball, so a walk to DeJesus is how this one gets underway, and then he'll have to go to the stretch right away.
We talked about the last start where Lance Lynn was outstanding, 10 strikeouts and no walks. He has had some first inning troubles as he's allowed 12 first inning runs. Gives you a little idea how he struggled there in June, but back on track in July.
Starlin Castro, two-time All-Star, and there goes the runner, and how about that jump? Standing up at second base is David DeJesus with his 3rd stolen base. He's been caught 4 times, and here's the jump.
Once again, where's the yell, step off, but you're set in your ways. You just feel that you got picked. Hopefully you'll foul off a pitch, but
I wonder if runners have just gotten better at anticipating the move to the plate, or whether pitchers have kind of abdicated the role of holding runners on because managers have taken it away from them.
I think that's the interesting point to me is you used to have to think about that running situation, but now a lot of managers won't allow you to step off or throw over without them calling it, and I think he just forgot about the runner. That's manager's decision, but it doesn't work that way. And I think also too, DeJesus, a heady ball player, saying, okay, just walk the first man. He's going to concentrate on throwing strikes and forget about me as a base runner.
.45 RBIs on the season for Castro. See if he tries to hit this ball to the right side. Behind in the count 1-2. No, he pulls it. So the runner doesn't advance. Descalzo throws out Castro, and not good situational hitting there.
And sometimes the pitcher will have something to do it. We were talking about a little bit interesting that Descalzo is playing shortstop and Tyler Green at second base. I think maybe the only thing is Tyler Green really has just played so much more second base this year than short, just trying to do anything to make him feel relaxed.
Could have seen that go either way.
Yeah, but it kind of does seem like you're playing out of position.
Swing and a miss by Anthony Rizzo. .329 batting average for him. Just 22 years of age. We like the way he plays first base. And we've seen a good stroke from him as well. He's had a hit in both games of this series.
1 for 4 in each game, but everyone in Chicago is extremely excited about this young man. When he was called up, he was leading Pacific Coast League in just about every offensive category.
The 1-1. Another nice crowd on hand here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals are 6-4 against the Cubs this season. And again, the last time they'll face them here at Busch Stadium, 2 more trips planned to the north side.
It's a shame because the Cardinals have just dominated here in St. Louis.
Fly ball to center. Scalzo points it out for John Jay. And he rushes it into third base. Good throw.
All with preparation, as he anticipated the runner would tag up, so you get behind the ball, you get some momentum behind your throw. You just assume that he's going to run. Well, don't wait and watch, then it's too late. But if you act like he's going to run, most of the time you'll stop the runner from running.
Seven-time All-Star Alfonso Soriano has struggled with the breaking ball. Lance Lynn, a fastball pitcher.
Still have to believe your fastball is better than his fastball swing.
And that time it was.
A little late on it. Good pitch up and in. I think the real key is for Lance Lynn to get ahead in the count. And then that's when Soriano becomes aggressive and will swing at pitches out of the strike zone, whether they're fastballs, but particularly the breaking ball.
The 0-1, swing and a miss. We are having some technical difficulties with our pitch speeds. We're going to work on rectifying that for you as the game goes on. That pitch up in the zone and
maybe
had some hop to it.
Maybe just say that that was a slider at 99.
Right. Good slider. There's DeJesus, the runner at second.
In reality, 10 miles slower.
Watch out.
That also will free up the outside part of the plate. The hitter really cannot protect both sides of the plate. So you as a pitcher determine which side you want to dominate, and the hitter will take his side.
Soriano tends to like the ball down, too. Another reason to throw that fastball up. The Cubs, of course, are celebrating the Hall of Fame induction today of Ron Santo. They're wearing a patch on their sleeve to honor him.
You see the 10, Santo's number. It's just a shame that Ron passed away before this honor, and he couldn't be there in person. That might have done him in right himself. He would have been so excited.
Well, that's what we remember so much about Ron Santo. Times that we got to be around him. He really, I mean, emotionally was invested in every single game as a broadcaster, certainly as a player. But as a broadcaster, he was really just bleeding Cub blue.
I used to get him all the time that his beloved Cubbies were going to kill him because he did care so much.
Swing and a miss on a breaking pitch. Lynn strikes out Soriano, strands DeJesus after a leadoff walk. Cardinals to bat when we come back. Honoring Ron Santo here today, and one way they did it is by clicking their heels.
That's what he used to do when he'd go down in the left field corner after a Cubs victory. That door down to the clubhouse, he'd click his heels and off they go.
I love that.
That's neat.
That is outstanding.
Somebody had to tell him that, I'm sure.
They did. The Cardinals batting order brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Tyler Green in the leadoff spot here this afternoon. Alan Craig, Matt Holliday to follow. Carlos Beltran, David Freese, and John Jay in the middle. Cruz, Descalzo, and Lynn round out the Cardinals order. Here's a look at Ron Santo. How about that?
Guess that day he didn't want to spike himself.
I find that very poignant and moving that the Cubs players did that for him here this afternoon.
Well, nobody pulled harder for him. And you could turn on a broadcast within a few seconds, you would know his sentiments, good or bad. You know, Travis Woods throwing the ball pretty well. He come off a real rough outing, just one of those days that caught up with him, but prior to that he'd been pitching well.
He had won 4 straight games up till that outing, and that came against Miami. He was ineffective and really didn't use his off-speed pitches often enough and well enough. Went 4 2/3 and gave up 2 home runs and a bunch of runs, 8 runs in that game.
Ricky, we always talk about a real sign of success for a pitcher is can they successfully pitch with their gloved hand. And in this case, you know, with a lefty throwing to a right-hander, can he get in on the right-handed batters? He was fine with that, but he was doing it too much.
Pop down the right field line, outside the foul line, but it's caught by Rizzo for out number 1. The defense behind Wood, Soriano to Jesus, 6 outfield assists, and Laharon Wright. Rizzo is the new first baseman. Barney and Castro up the middle, and Valbuena the third baseman. Steve Clevenger back behind the plate as Giovanni Soto continues to be ineffective with the bat. Our Dobbs Cubs defense.
And Alan Craig pinch hit in the 7th inning, hit a double, and then same inning came up and hit another double.
What are the odds of it being 0-0 after 6 and the Cardinals scoring 12 in the 7th again today? Just guess, Al. 1 in.
How many would it be? Billions, or?
It'd have to be. That was incredible to watch. The Cardinals offense just exploded in the 7th inning here yesterday.
7 doubles in an inning that tied the major league record.
Alan Craig had 2 of them.
He had 2 of them. Were big hits when he got them too.
You bet. 3-1 to Craig. All kinds of records tied with that 12-run outburst yesterday.
I was saying that one thing that Wood has done well right now is throwing backdoor cutters.
And here's some of the crazy things that the Cardinals tied.
Franchise
yesterday.
record. Look at 120,991 innings between 12-run innings. Keith Overman counted those up.
Base hit for Craig. And if you like watching doubles, we have a treat for you. There's 1, 2. Well, we're not going to count them all, but the Cardinals just going the other way. You mentioned some of those were good pitches. Cal said it on the pregame show, but the Cardinals just fought them off and found the holes, found the lines.
You know, with the 8 extra base hits in the 7th inning, only 1 went to the center of the diamond. Most of them were down either the right field or left field line.
Matt Holliday.
Ricky, in case you're wondering, the record for the most doubles in a game was set in Game 2 of a doubleheader on July 12, 1931 at Sportsman's Park. The Cardinals hit 13 doubles and the Cubs had 10. But there's a little reason why.
Line drive to left. Over the head of Soriano. Let's talk some more about doubles. Craig rounds third, and he slips. And he's going to have to go back to the bag. Oquendo was sending him. Let's hope Craig is all right. He slipped on the bag. A hard hit double for Holliday. Should have scored Alan Craig.
Yeah, sure run right there, and no one feels worse than Alan Craig. And you can see he's still upset. So watch him come into third base. He had changed his stride as he hit a little stutter step right before the bag. Watch right here. See how he did that little altered his motion there a little bit, trying to get in the right setting to step on the bag, and it kind of tripped him up.
Carlos Beltran takes strike one. 12 game winning RBIs on the season for Carlos. Could this be number 13 with this at bat?
Sure could. He leads the National League with those 12 game winning RBIs. Number 12 came Friday night.
Infield back for Chicago. Wood delivers. Popped up foul. Might sneak out of play. And it does. Well, we mentioned the Cardinals' 12-run seventh inning, and it tied a franchise record of 12 runs in an inning that they had set in 1926. And 12 runs in a game, all scored in just one inning. That's only happened one other time. That was 1943. Craig the runner at third, Holliday at second. One out in the Cardinals first. Beltran at the plate, and that almost hit him.
That's a cutter in, but they say that he's gotten a lot of mileage recently. They've got him to backdoor that cutter. Throw it to a right-handed batter, it gives up on it, and then it breaks over to the corner.
Playing deep for Beltran in the outfield. Conceding the run.
And we agree with that strategy.
The 1-2. Fly ball to right. We may have a play at the plate. It's shallow. LaHair has it, and not much of a throw. But he was very shallow in right field, and Oquendo probably made the right choice not sending him.
Well, you know, Oquendo wants to challenge every outfielder, but Alan Craig, you got to consider, you can ill afford to have him run into a collision and injure himself, and not running at 100 speed, 100%. So I think it's a smart decision. And you got Mr. RBI with 2 outs coming up.
That would be David Freese.
Freese is second in the National League with 28 2-out RBIs, and he's not going to get a shot.
Intentional pass to Freese will load the bases for John Jay. Travis Wood. An interesting contrast when you look at him and Lance Lynn, our pitchers today. Wood is 5'11", 175, and Lynn is 6'5", 250. At least. Both pitchers have done well against their opponents here this afternoon, our Toyota keys to the game.
You see talked about Lance Lynn. He's got 2 starts, 3 appearances against Cubs, 2-0, 1.17 ERA. But Travis Wood, 2-0, 2.33 ERA. Both of them have struck out a lot of the opponents. Jon Jay is a small sample, but it's a good sample, 2 for 3 off against Travis. But it still makes sense to bring up the lefty-lefty matchup. That was earlier in the season when Jon Jay was really hot.
RBI opportunity for Jay here. Lefty on lefty. Late swing, fouled over the Cubs dugout. 1-1. Here's your situation. Craig, Holiday, Freeze the runners. Jay facing Travis Wood.
Wood listed at 5'11", but doesn't really appear to be that tall. And once again, you're reminded by 2 giant left-handers that probably the only reason he got signed is he's left-handed.
Nothing wrong with that.
You have to be 6'4" and above if you're right-handed, but if you've got a heartbeat and a breaking ball, you can be signed as a lefty.
And I vote for that. Off-speed pitch, just misses the inside corner.
Doesn't throw a lot of curveballs, and that was one there. And Jon Jay somehow held up his swing.
The 2-2. Loop to left, and it's going to drop fair. Jon Jay has doubled in 2 teammates, and it's 2-0 Cardinals in the first.
How about the luck for the Redbirds? It looked like that ball landed right on the foul line. No way to defense that. Left-handed hitter hits it right on the left field foul line. There's the breaking ball. Lets it get deep. Will it stay fair or foul? And it's fair. Right on the foul line. Get a better look here.
So
nice going.
So the intentional pass to David Freese doesn't work out as Wood doesn't get the lefty. Did make a good pitch, however. Bad result. Now Tony Cruz. 2 more runners in scoring position. If the Cardinals get a bloop double that hits a line down the right or the left, I expect the Cubs to just quit and go home. They're going to say, this is just not fair. We're done. Seen too many of it.
I'll stop at Schnucks, get some grilling meats, and
have a good old day.
Have the old barbecue a little early.
Something tells me the Cubs would not quit on the day that Ron Santo was going into the Hall of Fame. 2-0 St. Louis.
Sixteenth start for Cruz, and it's got to be tough. You know, every time you're facing a pitcher, you just feel like you're playing once a week. But he's done a very nice job. Most important thing is how he handles the pitching staff, and you don't miss a whole lot. And that's hard to say with Molina and his Gold Glove ability.
And even with the limited time, he was given the green light, 3-0. First base is open, lefty on deck.
Rick, is there even a take sign anymore?
I'm sure there is one.
But I think everybody has the green light. Good rip.
There was a time I played on teams where they had a take sign and they would only use it when they didn't want you to take.
Right.
Because they would assume other time they wanted to do it backwards, and there was also a steal sign that was basically used not to steal.
Right.
And every other time you could steal.
Especially with Whitey ball, you
exactly.
Everybody had the green light to steal, unless you were given the do not steal. And that wasn't that often.
Line drive, and it is fair into the corner. Another Cardinal double, and 2 more runs. 4-0 St. Louis.
How do you defend that one with a right-handed batter?
As far as we can tell, the Cubs are not going home. They're going to stay out there, but they have to be frustrated. Another ball finds a line. This time it's the right field line, and Tony Cruz.
Oh, good for Tony Cruz. 2 more doubles, giving him 6. There's that little cutter out there, and stayed up a little bit. Looked like he was looking for it. Already 34 pitches thrown by Travis Wood.
And the problem here for Dale Swaim is he has a bullpen that is really overtaxed. The bullpen had actually pitched well up until the 7th inning yesterday. They had good numbers over their last 24 innings, but they made a move. They sent out Rafael Dolis and brought in a third left-hander, and his name is Jeff Beliveau, so he's available. But really not a lot of innings out there. We thought we'd see Joe Mather last night. We've not seen Carlos Marmol in this series. There's a line drive, and this one's caught by the third baseman Valbuena, but the damage is done. Cardinals 4 runs, 4 hits. Visit cardinals.com/March of Dimes. Going into the Hall today, Ron Santo, 342 career home runs, 5-time Gold Glove winner, 9-time All-Star, and Barry Larkin, an outstanding career for Cincinnati. So a National League Central flavor to the Hall of Fame induction today. Congratulations across the board. Larkin, a 12-time All-Star. A good start for Lance Lynn. He has gotten very good run support all season long, and looks like it's happening again here this afternoon.
Well, he leads the National League in run support, but the way he's pitched, he has not needed nearly that much support. 2 All-Stars, first-year All-Stars opposing each other.
There's the run support.
So it's amazing how somebody has to get it, and somebody is going to be at the bottom end who doesn't get hardly any run support.
And the big National League winners on that list.
That helps.
R.A. Dickey has 13 wins to lead the National League. Gio Gonzalez with 12. They're 6 tied at 11. So Lynn hoping for his 12th here today.
He's one of those 6 tied for 3rd.
Facing Brian LaHare. That was the Lance Lynn changeup. He throws his changeup a little bit like a split. It's not really a split finger. It's just
spreads the fingers.
Spreads the fingers. Just takes the velocity off.
That's what I like about a split finger pitch. That you throw it like a fastball, and you should get results of lesser speed.
Loop into center field. Boy, the Cubs getting all the breaks this series on the blue pits, aren't they?
They even out. They even out, Rick. Don't worry about it. They'll even out for the Redbirds. Set up inside. Ball just does get in there. Jams a guy, but big and strong. Muscles it over the infield. At least we've kept LaHare in the ballpark.
Very dangerous hitter. Steve Clevenger was 1 for 4 in game 1. Clevenger, a career .308 hitter in the minor leagues, getting an opportunity here this year. The production down from Soto. Always nice to have a left-handed hitting catcher. He's had trouble throwing out runners, though. Only 3 out of 28.
Yeah, he's more of a slugger, and he's done a real good job of pinch hitting. The primary thing for a backup catcher is the ability to catch and throw. If you can hit, all the more plus. But I would think most importantly, you would want to make a guy a good defensive catcher, good thrower and catcher. And if you can get a left-handed bat that fills that, it's all the better.
There goes the runner, and it's happened again. This time it's Brian LaHare. He steals second base.
It's his second steal of the year.
And he started to go back to first. He thought that pitch was fouled off or there was a timeout, and they had to yell to him at the last minute. Here's the stolen base.
Boy, once again.
But then once he was on the base, he thought they were telling him to go back to first, and he left the bag. The Cardinals almost picked him off a second. That's odd.
If you're not sure, stay on the bag and get help from your coaches. But so he gets in there. He hears the call, and he's assuming it's a foul ball. So he starts to go back. That's a little more than starting to go back.
That's right.
But once again, if you're stay in that bag and look for help from your coaches if you're not sure.
He had to have assumed it was a foul ball. Swing and a miss. Wild swing there, and that was very rusty swing from Clevenger. And again, they do not get the runner from second to third.
That's Lynn, that ability to strike out a little bit more than a strikeout per inning. Backdoor breaking ball. Swinging right over the top. No further advancement.
Darwin Barney, Cubs second baseman, takes a slider for strike 1.
Ricky, he's on a nice little streak. What is it, 80 games
Right.
without committing an error? And we've seen guys that have done that in the past that go like on a long errorless streak, but he plays very, very good defense and takes a lot of chances.
It's not a safe 80.
Right,
games.
right. I remember there was one particular gentleman that should be in the Hall of Fame, not in the Hall of Fame because of what he did is gambling. But I saw him at times, didn't make any errors playing left field, but he never ever got close to a ball that was going to be a tough decision.
Ground ball to third. Freeze has it on to Craig. Lynn pitched around a leadoff walk in the first inning and a stolen base to follow. Leadoff single here in the second with a stolen base, and he's trying to hold the Cubs down once again. 4-0 St. Louis. The Cubs are 9-39 when they score 3 runs or less, which tells me they haven't had a lot of pitchers go deep into games. They're not winning 2-1, 1-0, 3-2.
9-39.
9-39.
Cardinals are 3-22, scoring fewer than 3 runs.
That's not very good either.
And that 6-game road trip, the Cardinals were 1-5. They didn't score more than 3 runs in any of the games, and yet the pitching was so good they could have won all 6, and they could have lost all 6.
Luis Valbuena for his last 7 facing Lance Lynn. Pitch misses low. First base is open. Travis Wood, the pitcher, bats next, but he can really swing the bat.
He's a very good athlete. He fields his position, runs the bases well. He's a good hitter.
He's paying attention in that on deck circle, isn't he? He's not just standing there. He is paying attention. He's trying to time Lance Lynn, one of those rare throw left, bat right guys.
I did the same, and in the minor leagues they tried to switch me, to protect your left arm. When you're a right-handed batter, your left arm is exposed.
And you, of course, are rare as well. Strikeout for Lynn, his 3rd. The Windy City Weekend Sweepstakes. Catch a game on the rooftop in Chicago. Today is your last chance to enter. Go to Fox Sports Midwest Girls Facebook page right now. 4-0 St. Louis. 4 runs on 4 hits in the Cardinals' first inning, and 3 more doubles.
And we were talking about the doubles and said the record for doubles was back in 31 at Sportsman's Park. Cardinals had 13, the Cubs had 10. But the interesting thing there, Gene Karst was the man that invented the PR department. And I got a chance to meet Mr. Karst several years ago. Well, they had a promotion, and it was so successful that at Sportsman's Park, which had a capacity of 34,000, they had an attendance of 47,715. So they put the overflow on the field or on the warning track. You had probably better than 10,000 people on the warning track, and they made a ground rule that any ball hit into the fans on the field became a ground rule double, and that's why they had 23 doubles in that game.
And now we know the rest of the story.
I've seen that in the minor leagues before.
I have too. Special promotion nights.
Yep.
The Chicken was there, or
Ricky Horton.
Yeah. Strikeout of Lance Lynn. First strikeout for Wood. And back to the top of the order, and Tyler Green.
What was the best promotion you saw in the minor leagues?
Well, I loved a lot of them. The Max Patkin was always fun, and the Chicken was
Prince
great.
Of baseball.
The Chicken was always entertaining, and both of them, when they would do their act, they would actually coach third base and actually have to learn the signs or make up the signs for a half inning, or maybe 2 different half innings. And so they would be the home team's manager, essentially.
I saw Max Patkin one time coaching third base, and he did a little skit where he would kick his foot in the air, and it just happened to be one of those times where he did it with the pitch coming in.
Fly ball to right.
The shoe came off his foot and flew all the way to home plate and landed on top of the home plate umpire. I mean, just could never have, in a million years, what was the chance of that? Of course, the umpire was sitting there trying to call a pitch, and then has about a size 12 cleat hit him in the top of the head, and he wasn't quite sure what happened.
Max Patkin, he was the clown prince of baseball. Then there was Captain Dynamite. We talked about him recently.
Yeah, I never saw Captain Dynamite.
Oh,
but,
boy.
I've heard your stories of him, and I'm aware of him. Kite Man. One time on opening day in Philadelphia, kind of was on a wire and was supposed to fly in from the top of the stadium in center field and drop out the first pitch, and he kind of fell off the wire and crashed and got booed by the Philadelphia fans.
Imagine that. Ground ball too short. Craig is retired. A 1-2-3 inning for Travis Wood. On to the third. 4-0 St. Louis. Sports Midwest is brought to you by MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And get the All-American Jack Combo at Jack in the Box. It's a no-nonsense burger with fries and a drink for only $4.99 plus tax at participating stores. Temperatures at 94 degrees at game time here in St. Louis. Expected to go into the upper 90s.
I think we're getting used to it.
We are. It doesn't really feel
really
that bad.
doesn't, no.
Of course, we have a fan on us. That may have something to do with it, Al. But the fans out there don't seem to be having any problem with it. Enjoying Cardinal baseball here this afternoon. Nice crowd on hand.
You ever sat down in the green seats on a Sunday afternoon game?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's St. Louis's fire department offering a little relief.
And other refreshments available here as well.
Hydrate.
Over 43,000 on Friday, over 43,000 yesterday. Said Travis Wood can swing the bat pretty well. Heading to count 2-1. A fair amount of Cub fans on hand. This one popped up on the infield. Who wants it? Alan Craig does. Back to the top of the order, and David DeJesus. He walked and stole a base. And still intrigued by, you touched on it, Al, but I'm still intrigued on Descalso and Green, shortstop, second base, and think of a lot of reasons why you might put Descalso at short. He's been so reliable, and you mentioned Green has played more games this year at second base, but when you think about their overall body of work, Descalso basically was a second baseman, and Green was a shortstop. So
right.
They're essentially playing out of position, but they're playing where Mike Matheny thinks they'll do a better job.
Scalzo's playing in his 4th game at shortstop, 39 games at second base. And we have Tyler Green, who has played 4 games at shortstop and 34 starts today at second. But in my mind, really, Descalso is your solid middle infielder, defensive wizard. And what really separates, if you're going to be a utility player, you have to play shortstop. And I think he has proven that he can play, but that's the position he's had the least experience at.
So some rest today for Lance Berkman, Rafael Furcal, Yadier Molina. I know there are Cardinal fans that go ballistic when their best favorite player is not in the lineup, but you have to find them some rest every once in a while. I know fans want to see their favorites every day, but not unusual 3-game series. The 3rd game on Sunday to play some of your bench players. All teams do it.
Right. Dale Swain playing the same lineup for 3rd consecutive day.
Two is grounded to the right side. Second baseman Tyler Green throws him out.
Cardinals do not have an off day until a week from tomorrow, and that is an off day on the road, which is, sometimes it's not as relaxing as it is when you're at home with your family. And then they'll go from July 30th to August 13th before they have their next off day. People don't want to hear that either, that players get tired, but
well, it's all a matter of the perspective of keeping them optimally ready to play at their best.
Yeah,
not that they can't play, but you want them to be sharp. You don't want their bat to slow down.
And that's it. I think we've seen in the last week some of the guys, sure, they can go out and play, but they're not going to be at their peak performance. And nothing was wrong. Maybe little nagging injuries here and there, which everybody has, but it's just kind of need a little breather.
Good swing by Castro.
What people don't understand also is if you're going to get any kind of production from the guys on the bench, you have to play them every now and then. You know, Whitey Herzog, it was like every Sunday was Grabini Day. The bench guys played. He put out some funny-looking lineups, but those guys were excited. They wanted to play that day.
Hard hit to left. Going towards the left field corner. It was down and up against the wall. Holiday retrieves it. A 2-out double for Starlin Castro. So Lynn doesn't get his first 1-2-3 inning. He'll have to pitch again with a runner in scoring position. Get it in the first, second, and with that pitch, he's going to have to do it in the third.
And that didn't go where he wanted. He wanted that ball down and away. He just left it on the down and in. He just turned on it. It's a double down in the left field corner.
Maybe thankful that that's in the ballpark.
Yes. Of course, they can't have their automatic steal a second.
That one baffles me, I got to tell you. We were seeing it more and more. Cardinals do it. Yadier Molina does it as well as anybody. I wonder if Dave McKay is teaching that.
Well, it's apparent that, you know, Dave McKay, over first base coach, and has that stopwatch. They know he's very slow to the plate, but inexcusable just to forget about the runner. Because, I mean, they've stole the base before he even delivered the ball. And I'm sure Mike Matheny and Derek Lilliquist will mention that to Lance Lynn. You know, look more than once. Barry, you're maybe step off a little more. Do all the kinds of things to slow up the game.
And exactly. The drill that I'm wondering whether it even happens anymore is we used to have the step off drill where you'd get used to the infielders yelling at you to step off, and you'd actually have everybody yell it, and then you'd step off and trying to make sure you didn't balk. That's why you'd practice it,
right? So
you wouldn't flinch, and you'd get used to your infielders yelling step off. The first thing that would move would be your back foot.
But I will say this about Lance, and I love it about him. Things just don't bother him.
I agree. The 3-1 to Rizzo. Second walk for Lynn. Brings in Soriano.
One thing I'm sure that Lance is going to look back and say he should be much more efficient in his pitches. Pitch count up to 57 right now.
Far too many. Far too many when you've got 2 zeros on the board.
Sure.
Jams Soriano with the first pitch, and he's been working him inside with that fastball, and then he throws the breaking pitch away.
Talking about how dangerous he is. First 30 games, Soriano did not hit a home run. And since that time, he's hit 18, second most in the National League, third most in all of baseball.
He jams him again. Freese tries to tag the runner flying by, but ends up settling on a throw across the diamond to Craig. Lynn gets out of another one. 4-0 St. Louis. At 12. You can do it online on your favorite mobile device. All you need to do is text @BAT to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com to get more details. 4-0 St. Louis. Cardinals won game 2 here yesterday 12-0. All runs came in the 7th. And they won the opener of the series 4-1. So the Cubs have managed just 1 run.
And the Cardinals 20.
Whew.
A pretty good chance to win if you go 20-1 in a 3-game series.
I'll say. Matt Holliday has done a lot of the damage in this series. He had a double in the 7th. Who didn't yesterday? But a 2-hit game 1, including a 469-foot home run.
The telling stat right there is the Cardinals, really, when you go back to last couple weeks, really struggling with runners in scoring position. Very few extra base hits. And all of a sudden they exploded last night in the 7th inning and came out smoking in the 1st. 3 more doubles in the 1st inning. 4 hits, 4 runs.
Strange how it can be so contagious.
Hitting is contagious.
So is the bullpen.
Pitchers kind of get on a little bit of a roll. They start feeding off of each other. But the Cardinals did last night, and I see Carpenter and Berkman always talking baseball, those two.
Holliday strikes out. Carpenter has talked about how he was a big fan of Lance Berkman. Now they're teammates. Talking hitting in the big leagues doesn't get any better than that. Berkman not in the lineup today, but he's still busy. His presence is very important to this club. Was last year and is again this year. Oh, 0-2 to Carlos Beltran. Second in the league in RBIs at 68. Just missing the outside corner. The Cubs employing a shift.
See a lot of shifts for left-handed batters, but not many for right-handed batters, and they're doing so. 3 infielders on the left side. Is that cutter? Travis was acquired from Cincinnati in the Sean Marshall deal.
Just fair. Beltran thrown out, and that's what the shift will do for you. Playing right on the line was Valbuena. So 2 outs for Travis Wood. He's now retired 6 straight.
Cardinals got 3 runs on Friday night, and then the long home run in the 3rd inning by Holliday Friday night, but then sat on that and was good enough for the win. You'd like to keep on adding on, piling on, but I also like to think 4 runs is good enough for a victory.
Never have enough runs. And from the hitter's perspective, it's not just a matter of needing the runs, but they want to keep their at-bats crisp. They want to keep the good feeling going, and they're going to just keep pushing and pushing. That's what you do.
And what happened last night in the 7th inning, the 12-run 7th inning, that would have been hard to duplicate in batting practice.
I think you're right.
You get a big lead like that, everybody just relaxes and just nobody's pressing. Everybody's just having fun.
Tied 3 Major League Baseball records with that 12-run 7th inning. John Jay will hit with 2 outs, and Jim Hayes joins us, and he has some more scoop on Mr. J. Jim?
Well, John's been battling through a rough stretch. 11 for his last 57 coming into this game. He had a 2-run double in the 7th last night, a 2-run double today. Mike Matheny says Jay's a very good hitter, but his swing has, quote, a lot of moving parts and requires maintenance. Matheny says when Jay's timing is off, he has to battle to get it right, and Jay's been putting in the work, and guys, it looks like that may be paying off.
Well said. Thank you, Jim. And a bunt attempt is foul. And an interesting description. A lot of moving parts in the swing of John Jay, and I think as we watch him, that's not hard to see.
No. Some hitters are quiet, others have a lot of moving parts, as you say, but they all come to a trigger, come to a stop. But it's his is all with timing, and then part of the art of pitching is disrupting the timing of a hitter. In his case, with all this movement, you know, if you would double pump on him or do something a little different.
I'd like to see him take a whack at a Bob Tewksbury Eephus pitch. That would be funny to watch.
He might get 2.
Swing at it twice.
Come recoil and come back and swing again before it crossed the plate. Talk about on the road trip, thinking about Tewksbury and the Eephus pitch he threw to Mark McGwire one day in Minnesota. It was when Randy Wolf was throwing like 65-mile-an-hour curveball, and we were trying to think. We thought it was in the 50s, the pitch he threw to McGwire.
2-2 to Jay. Frees the runner at first. Travis Wood does not allow stolen bases. Only 9 in 275 career innings in the big leagues. He holds runners very, very well. Clevenger can't hang on to that foul tip at the plate, and it may have caught a piece of him.
Oh, it did. Foul tips. Ouch.
Mark O'Neill, former Cardinal trainer.
Very good friend of ours.
Does a great job.
His parents were down in Arkansas. They told me, I asked him if they came up this weekend. He said no, but they'll be in Chicago next weekend when the Cardinals are in Chi-Town.
Yeah, he's laughing about it now.
Yeah, his eyes were watering and
seeing stars. Didn't know his name. Wondering why he wanted to be a catcher in the first place.
So musically inclined, did he become an alto?
I would think that's a possibility.
We are cruel.
Line drive to left. This might drop, and it does. Soft liner. John Jay has a couple of hits against the left-hander. He's been struggling of late, but he actually has better numbers against lefties in the last 3 weeks or so.
He came in 2 for 3 off of Wood, and now he's picked up 2 more hits. That 2-run double he had in the first couple that with the 2-run double he had last night in the 7th inning. So 4 quick RBIs. Ball almost by him, but he puts it in play and gets the benefit of a hit.
Tony Cruz had a big hit in the Cardinal first inning, a 2-out, 2-run double. Chance for more RBIs here. 4-0 St. Louis. They've out-hit Chicago 5-2. Not a bad hack by Tony Cruz. We like what he's done behind the plate, too. Tony Cruz has a catcher's ERA of 3.64, which is actually a pretty good number.
And Rick, you and I know that it's not easy when you have a catcher as durable as Molina. You don't get much playing time, and you never complain.
This could be a tough play, but LaHair runs it down and right. 4-0 St. Louis.
In the field today will be in your store tomorrow. That's the Schnucks difference. By the way, as I said, I'm going to do some grilling tonight, and I picked those homegrown tomatoes. I used to know the name of the orchard. It was outstanding, and Lance Lynn has been good. Could be a little more efficient with his pitch count, but he's throwing up 3 zeros there, and that's what's most important.
Well, we hope your dinner is an enjoyable one, Al, after a Cardinal victory here this afternoon. So far, so good. Plenty of kids on hand here this afternoon. The heat never seems to bother them very much.
When you're young, it doesn't.
I don't remember.
You're not that old, Rick.
And when you have a 4-0 lead, nothing seems to bother you either.
Nothing seems to bother you.
First pitch low to Brian LaHair. He singled and stole a base in the 2nd inning. Struck out 93 times on the season. That may be his one issue. He's had a good year. In fact, he had a number of huge AAA years and just couldn't get to the big leagues. Good power numbers with Seattle, and you wonder why they couldn't have used him. They kind of gave up on him, but he just continued year after year to put up numbers in AAA.
Yeah, last year he led the Pacific Coast League in home runs. Just had a big season. And this year he's had 5 of his 14 home runs have been hit against Cardinal pitching. 14 home runs are tied with Joey Votto for the 2nd most by a National League first baseman. Adam LaRoche has 16.
Line drive, base hit up the middle.
See if Lance Lynn hasn't learned anything about holding the runner in check at first.
3rd time in 4 innings. Cubs have had the leadoff runner aboard twice now for Brian LaHair. Love our Foxmo. You see the spin on the ball. You see what the pitcher's trying to do with it. You see the concentration of the catcher.
What I love there is watch the catcher's glove. It's supposed to be down and away, and he starts reaching up and over the middle of the plate. Then you wonder why it's a base hit.
Hard hit ball. Freese has it to second for one. On to first, double play. Nice play by David Freese. Taking a hit away from Clevenger and turning it into 2 outs.
Game of inches way off the line. Really hard hit. 1 step and a dive to his left. And then Tyler Green had all the time in the world, but LaHera was barreling down on him. Complete that double play. Boy, game of inches. Another inch or two to David's left, and they have something going with runners at first and second and nobody out.
It's a good way to describe the position of third base. It's a step and a dive position most of the time.
It's reactionary position. That's all the time you usually have is 1 step and a dive.
Middle infielders have to get the right route on ground balls. They have to come in more often. They have to go to their left and their right. But for third base, it's basically reaction and hands.
Al Maxfield told me he got in trouble one time in a meeting with Atlanta Braves. He was a coach for the Braves with Joe Torre, and Ted Turner asked him, how much range does Bob Horner have? And he goes, as much as he has when he lays down.
You got in trouble for saying that?
Yeah.
It was about right, though.
It was. I mean, Gene Garber and I used to tell one of the coaches to hit ground balls to E&I and Horner, their third baseman. And we would tell them to hit it 5 feet to our left and right. And we're running, trying to barely get these balls. Some of them we couldn't, beyond our reach. If a ball was hit 1 yard left or right of Bob Horner in pregame and batting practice, he wouldn't go after it. It was too far.
Played a bit with the Cardinals.
Bob was the first guy you wanted to go out with after a game, but during the game, sometimes you wish he could have been a little more inspired to play. I mean, he was such a great hitter, he didn't even want to take batting practice because that was too much an effort.
Very talented hitter, though.
Yes, he was.
Luis Valbuena, the third baseman. 2-out walk to Darwin Barney. And he's a threat to steal. Now Lance Lynn paying some attention to him.
And if you went out with Bob Horner, very generous, you'd have a great time. He would look at this cloud in the sky today and say, think it's going to rain?
Now snap throw. Barney is 6 for 6 in stolen bases. The Cubs have already stolen 2.
Jesus and LaHera just took off with Lance Lynn just holding the ball.
And to Lynn's credit, it didn't rattle him. You talked about nothing bothering him, and really, you could get unraveled when somebody picks your pocket like that.
Sure.
Maybe embarrassed, maybe frustrated. But Lance Lynn, very even keel emotionally.
I said that's a real plus for him.
High hopper to second. Lynn gets through the 4th inning thanks to David Freese turning a double play. 4-0 St. Louis. comes from Jeanette in St. Peters, Missouri. He's concerned about the clean clothes of the players. Here's your question. How is the team's laundry handled on getaway days? Good question. And how many road and home uniforms does a player have? And Al Raboski has all the scoop on this one.
Well, Jeanette, I'm sure, heard us talking one day, was saying that the ball club leaves about 45, 50 minutes after a game, and naturally he's required, what about the laundry for that day? Well, it goes with the ball club, and it's not uncommon where when we get to the next city, the players will go to the hotel, but they'll have the equipment truck drops off the luggage, but also another one will go straight to the ballpark, and the clubhouse members will be there. They'll get that laundry all cleaned up. When you show up the next day at the new ballpark, everything is clean, hanging in your locker. Used to be that
bunt to the right side by Descalso. This could be trouble, and it's a base hit. Very well executed bunt hit for Descalso.
And you would have, each player would have like 2 home uniforms, 2 road uniforms. But as we take another look at the execution here, finding it hard enough to get by the pitcher, first baseman has to come in, do or die flip, and they can't. Rizzo just never really caught the ball to flip it to his pitcher cover. But you have to remember that they carry so many trunks with extra pants, shirts. Equipment managers never know when a player is going to be traded or called up.
Ball gets away from the catcher. Maybe a pass ball. It was a high fastball. He's trying to throw it up in the zone to make it difficult for Lance Lynn to bunt, and he just threw it too high. And it is a pass ball on Clevenger.
Going up there, and I'm sure Clevenger will tell you should have caught that ball, but you are thinking the ball down, and then you have to react.
And now we should give credit to the equipment managers. A lot of times on those getaway days, we're arriving at a city at 1 or 2 in the morning, and they're going right to work.
Absolutely. And it is
good bunt. Valbuena had to make the decision whether or not he thought that ball would go foul or not. Decided to get the out, and I think he made the right choice. I don't think that ball was going to go foul. So the Cardinals advance a runner.
Good execution right there, and get that runner over there with just 1 out. Deadens it perfectly, it rolls there, but it's not going to go foul. It's just in the middle there, so Lance Lynn getting down the line, he's going to be first and third and nobody out, so he might as well take the out. But golden opportunity here for Tyler Green. 16 RBIs on the season.
Cardinals trying to manufacture a run here in the 4th inning. An infield bunt single by Descalso. Goes to second on a pass ball. Sacrifice to third. Infield in, and
should be good enough.
That should be way deep enough. No chance for Soriano. The Cardinals do, in fact, manufacture a run. RBI, Tyler Green. 5-0 St. Louis. That's the way you play baseball.
Small ball, but a pitcher can help his own cause by getting the bunt down, advancing runner to third base. Then all you need is a sac fly. Really, all you need is a fly ball about 300 feet deep enough. Hyundai with your video, and that ball up there, if it's a little bit higher, maybe a pop-up or a swing and miss. But at the top of the strike zone, it usually means a fly ball and this type of sac fly.
Alan Craig 1 for 2. Singled and scored in the 1st inning. Cardinals with 4 runs in that 1st inning. A 2-run double for John Jay, followed by a 2-run double by Tony Cruz. Hard hit to center, but playable by DeJesus. Cardinals score 1 more. On to the 5th. 5 runs, 6 hits for the Cardinals, only 3 hits for Chicago. They've had trouble with offense here in this series. Build-A-Bear Workshop Day at Busch Stadium. It's the perfect reason to watch the Cardinals play the Brewers during the 82 30th anniversary celebration weekend. It'll be Sunday, August 5th. 12,000 fans ages 15 and under with paid admission will receive a bear in honor of the 82 world champions. For tickets, visit Cardinals.com. On to the 5th inning. Lance Lynn back to work. He's allowed a few base runners, but he stayed away from the big hits so far. Facing Travis Wood. Wood just looks like a hitter at the plate, doesn't he? Batting .250.
There's a lot of pitchers look like hitters until they swing, but
that's true.
Apparently, he does have a reputation of being a pretty good athlete and good hitter. Looks at a strike very well.
In the kitchen of Mr. Wood.
Talking with Bob Brindley, Cubs broadcaster, and talking about Big Daddy, Rick Russell. So there'd be times when nobody on base, Russell would just look at 3 strikes. You know, go back dugout, get ready to pitch. With men in scoring position, all of a sudden he decided, I want to help out.
One out, the Cubs 5th. Fox Sports Midwest is pleased to join the Cardinals to bring the 82 World Series champions to Busch Stadium. Tune in on August 3rd through the 5th of August for interviews, features, pregame festivities celebrating the 82 World Series champions. What a year that was. Whitey Herzog, Hernandez, Smith, Herr, Hendrick, McGee. Classic Cardinal team. DeJesus is 0 for 1. Bruce Sutter will be back. Bobblehead night for him. And talk about pitchers that didn't want to get a hit. I remember Bruce getting a hit in Chicago, and he was yelling and screaming the whole way to first base because he didn't want to get a hit. He just stuck the bat out and found a hole.
Didn't want to run
the bases. Didn't want to run the bases.
Want to just concentrate on pitching.
And he was yelling at himself the whole way. I found it very funny. Line out to Tyler Green. He thinks that's 3 outs, but we're going to give him more than 2 this inning.
You get away with it, try it.
It doesn't hurt to try. There's no penalty. Starlin Castro doubled with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. And he's a tough out. Very good hitter, over 200 hits a year ago. Just 22 years of age.
Ricky, you mentioned Willie McGee, and you know, pitchers hate to give up base, you know, the first hit of a career. I was honored to give up the first hit to Willie.
Did you really? Broken bat.
Long at bat, you know, fouled off a bunch of pitches and got a base hit over a shortstop.
And many more to follow. On the Brewers, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will receive a one-of-a-kind replica ticket from Game 7 of the 82 World Series, courtesy of Tickets.com. For more information about the 82 World Series Champions Reunion Weekend, presented by Fox Sports Midwest, visit Cardinals.com/promotions. First pitch hit deep to left. It's long, and it's gone. Home run, Holiday.
Well, it wasn't as far as the one Friday night, but it still counts. Number 16 is 63rd RBI. And here's pitch up in the zone, breaking ball, and he gets it, a line drive. That's really the type of hitter he is. High average line drive hitter that just so strong. You know, it is certain percentage out.
And another one. Could it be back to back? You bet. Number 21 for Beltran. And it's 6-0 Cardinals.
And that is his 200th home run in the National League. Overall, it is 323 home runs, but 200th home run in the National League.
And make it 7-0 St. Louis, as their power, their extra bases have come back in the last 2 games, Al.
If you can do it 2 in a row, why not 3 in a row?
Both of those balls were crushed. Holiday, then Beltran.
23-1. Cardinals 23 runs this series. The Cubbies just 1. $12-0 last night, 7-0 this afternoon. First pitch to him right after you give up a home run, and just nice and easy, wasn't it?
Freeze strikes out. $7-0 St. Louis in support of Lance Lynn.
Jay, he's 2 for 2, 4 for 5 off of Wood.
Cardinals looking for a sweep here this afternoon. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh also playing for a sweep. Line drive, base hit again for John Jay. He's now 3 for 3, and that timing seems to be coming back, doesn't it?
Sure does. Average now back over 300, 301. It came into today's action at 289.
Reds are leading Milwaukee 2-1. That game in the 8th inning.
Pittsburgh was leading 1-0.
Now 3-0. And that game also in the 8th inning. Home run distances, for those who are adding them up, there's probably somebody doing that. I don't know who that is, but Matt Holliday's was a mere 436 feet, and Carlos Beltran's 407. Ground ball foul.
Cardinals can get some hits, can't they? Came in leading National League in average with 275. be leading in runs scored.
Ball hit to right. LaHare has it. Jay back to first. Cardinals with 5 more extra base hits here this afternoon. My count is right. They had 10 yesterday.
They did. Without a home run.
The 2 in this inning. Matt Holliday and Carlos Beltran back to back. Wood continues to work here into the 5th inning. Descalzo helped the Cardinals manufacture a run in the 4th. He had a bunt single. Cubs have played very poorly on the road. 20 games under 500 on the road, 14 and 34. Only the Houston Astros have a worse road record. The Astros, and this is hard to believe, this is hard to do, they've only won 10 out of 50 road games. Cubs also struggling in the Central Division. 2-2 the count to Descalzo. That pitch low. Long season for Dale Swain. Good baseball man. The 3-2 hit hard to center field, but right at DeJesus. Let's flash back to May 15th a year ago. The pitcher was Travis Wood, and a couple of home runs in that game. Also back to back. Berkman, then Yadier Molina. And here today, it was Travis Wood again. And again, it's back-to-back. Matt Holliday and Carlos Beltran. Cardinals lead 7-0. Back home runs, the 7th time the Cardinals have done it this season, and the 3rd time we've seen it from these two.
We see it a whole bunch more. That's when Lynn, only 81 pitches. Hopefully we can get one, maybe two more innings out of him.
Good off-speed pitch. Swung on and missed by Anthony Rizzo. He's 0 for 1 with a walk. And Lance Lynn has done a nice job working with Cardinals backup catcher behind the plate. That's Tony Cruz. Putting down all the right numbers so far.
You don't see anybody ever complain when Tony Cruz is back behind there. Rarely does he get shaken off. They have as much confidence in he as they do in Yadi.
There's a bloop to center. Base hit for Rizzo. And we're going to go to Jim Hayes, who has more on the Cardinal backup catcher, Tony Cruz. Jim?
Well, you guys were talking about it. Sometimes with a backup, you see some confusion with the starting pitcher. You don't see that with Cruz. Mike Matheny says the most impressive thing about Cruz, he's actually a converted catcher. 2007, Cruz's first year in the minors. He played all 66 of his games at third base. His conversion to catcher didn't start until 2008. Yadier Molina, by the way, says the most impressive thing about Cruz from day one, his dedication to preparation, guys.
And that preparation is so important. You got to be a step ahead of the pitcher. You got to have an answer for every question, every situation.
I thought Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa were really tough, and I mean this in a positive way, on their catchers. They demanded an awful lot of them. If you weren't going to put in the time to help prepare for a start, you really weren't going to be of value to them. Mike Matheny passed on a lot of that information to Yadier Molina, but he was very receptive, and Tony Cruz very much out of the same mold.
1-1 is swung on and missed. Now there's a lot of people that will ask, and we see Tony Cruz checking with Mike Matheny, and Yadier Molina does it too. And a lot of people are assuming, like it happens in Little League, that the manager or the pitching coach is calling a pitch when he does what he's doing.
That's just controlling the running game. That's all that is step offs, pitch outs, different things to control the running game. Matter of fact, Mike Matheny has been very vocal about how he thinks that even college coaches, but high school, are really doing disservice to a lot of young catchers by calling every pitch. And his feeling is that if you were so good at coaching and know how to get every hitter out, well, you should be able to teach that to your catchers, the art of calling pitches.
So what he's doing here is, in all those series of signs, it could be step off, could be hold the ball, could be throw over, or could just be pitch the ball home. All these signs that Mike's giving now lead to one of those four options. And good pitch in on the hands of Soriano. Second time he's a strikeout victim. What's on tap? Brought to you by Budweiser. Chad Billingsley 4-9. Joe Kelly 1-2. Tomorrow the Cardinals host the Dodgers. Game 1 of a 4-game series. The coverage begins at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. The Dodgers having a good season.
Playing a little better.
2.5 games behind San Francisco.
They're in New York today. They lead the Mets 3-2.
And they've won 3 straight.
Bottom of the 8th, yeah.
They've had some injuries to deal with.
Sure.
Ethier and Kemp.
They got both of them back for the second half, and that's got to help their offense. Scott Van Slyke still with the club?
I got to check on that.
No, I knew he was sent down, but then he came back up.
He did. We will see Clayton Kershaw in game 2. Kershaw and Wainwright.
And that is a 4-game series, 3 night games, and then Thursday. Final game of the homestand is an afternoon affair.
That'll be Jake Westbrook and Chris Capuano, who's 10-5.
Yeah, that's surprising.
You bet. Harang and Loesch will pitch Wednesday.
Former teammates in Cincinnati.
So plenty of good matchups. And some tickets available. High fly ball to right. Warning track distance. LaHare just missed it. StubHub. You can find the seats you want. Freedom to choose where you want to sit. The official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace. StubHub. Rizzo the runner at first. Clevenger the batter. He's 0 for 2. He bounced into a double play. Very good play defensively by David Freese. One of the things that I find to be true, and it's very difficult to explain it, but when the pitching is better, I think the defense gets better. I think, and it isn't just that the defense is not alert or they're bored, but there's something about the sharpness of a well-pitched game that leads to sharp defense.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. And when you have a lot of guys that are sinker ball pitchers that throw ground balls, that the infielders know they have to be on their toes. They're that much sharper. Probably doubtful that Lynn will go back out, as his pitch count is at 98 now. And now you're starting to get in the point where, as effective as the starters have been, need some work for the bullpen.
Feast or famine, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Full count to Clevenger.
Non-pitchers, and I'll even talk about managers and catchers and different coaches. They don't really think that, well, if you're down the bullpen, you haven't pitched for a while, it's okay. You can get your work in down there. It doesn't work that way.
Good fastball on the outside corner at 94. Clevenger, a strikeout victim for the second time. To take on the AL East leading Yankees. Box Saturday Baseball presented by Budweiser begins at 2:30 only on Fox. 7-0 St. Louis. 4 in the first, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth. Couple of home runs in that fifth inning, Matt Holliday and Carlos Beltran.
Not that you have a lot of options, but I think for at least the third time in a row, Carpenter comes in to pinch hit against a left-handed pitcher. And Lance Lynn did his job once again. 6 shutout innings. There's 4 hits allowed.
And you could see with a 7-0 lead, you might want to save the bullets of Lance Berkman and Rafael Furcal. Maybe give them a full afternoon off, if you can.
Well, Carpenter really doesn't matter. Salas throwing in the bullpen. He needs some work, but Carpenter will battle. They've got the shift on in the infield. And we've seen Carpenter shoot a lot of balls to left field. So,
and we've seen him have good at-bats against left-handed pitchers.
Hangs in there.
Wood's a gamer. He's still in there, and over 90 pitches, giving up 7 runs, working in the 6th inning. You'll have Carpenter then the top of the order, Green and Craig. We should also congratulate, we've said a lot about Barry Larkin and Ron Santo, as we should, but also Tim McCarver. Again, a Cardinal flavor to the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies.
Yep, he was the broadcast wing, his induction.
So congratulations to Tim. Busch Stadium in St. Louis. A warm July Sunday. Rick Horton with Al Raboski, Jim Hayes along with us. Very few clouds in the sky. And it's been all St. Louis so far. Lance Lynn, a solid 6 innings, just 4 hits. Back-to-back home runs in the Cardinals' 5th. And the Redbirds going for a sweep here this afternoon. Strike 1 to Tyler Green.
Yesterday, the Hall of Fame honored 3 generations of Cardinal managers and Red Changes, Whitey Herzog and Tony La Russa. And somebody yelled out something about, 5 years for Tony. Well, that's not the case, because he will be considered under, one of the rules. He only has to wait 2 years. Because I guess with that, I don't know what they call that committee now. Is it the Golden Rule or committee or something? But not like a player that would have to wait 5 years after his playing time for the manager. He could be eligible for that manager section, and that'll be pretty competitive there with Joe Torre and Bobby Cox also being considered.
And they're all shoe-ins at some point.
Yeah, they're all going to go in.
2 outs in the Cardinal 6th. Time for our AT&T trivia question. Who holds the Cardinals record for the lowest catcher's ERA in team history?
I know this one. He just went into the broadcast wing of the Hall of Fame yesterday.
We were just talking about him. Is it Tom Pagnozzi? No. It's Tim McCarver. But Tom Pagnozzi does make this list, the lowest catcher's ERA all time. McCarver, Porter, Simmons, Molina, and Pagnozzi. And that's your best Cardinal catchers there, wouldn't you say?
Without going back into
right.
History from the 60s forward, that is the catchers.
Throw Mike Matheny into that probably, although he spent more of his time in the American League.
Was he here much more than 4 years? He won 3 of his Gold Gloves, 3 of his 4 Gold Gloves with the Cardinals.
2-1 to Alan Craig. Mike Matheny, a 5-year St. Louis Cardinal catcher. So we'll put him on that list.
Well, the list was ERA, so we don't know where his was.
High fly ball, deep left field. Soriano back to the track, and he makes the play. Right up against the wall in the deepest part of left center field. Hoping for a sweep here this afternoon, and if they do it, they'll do it behind very good starting pitching, which began with Kyle Loesch. He was outstanding. So was Jake Westbrook. He had the sinker working. And Lance Lynn today, 6 shutout innings. And the numbers for those 3, only 1 earned run total and just 13 hits in 20 innings of work. Outstanding job by the Cardinals starting staff.
Loesch won his 10th. Westbrook his 8th. And Lance Lynn in line for his 12th victory. Salas in bullpen can do the job. Fernando had a rough stretch in June. He allowed runs in 4 straight, but then he has now gone 7 scoreless innings. And hope that trend will continue. As the starters have gotten better, so has the bullpen.
Matt Carpenter stays in the game to play first base. Our Mid-America Chevy dealer's call to the bullpen is Fernando Salas. And he'll face Barney Valbuena and a pinch hitter for Travis Wood. 7-0 St. Louis.
That's 3 consecutive very good outings for Lance Lynn. Got over that 100 innings pitched, no problems. Are you one that think that his innings total is going to be, really not a problem?
Yes, I don't believe it's going to be a problem for him.
I agree. What we're talking about is Lance Lynn has never thrown more than 164 innings in his career, and those are minor league innings a couple years ago.
Base hit to left. That's how the 7th starts. First hit of the series for Darwin Barney. Well, you never throw 200 until you do it, and then the next year you can say, oh yeah, he once threw 200 innings.
Sure. Watch
so
his
do it
ball
once.
up or kind of inside and must muscled it out. Supposed to be away, misses location, and it wasn't a strike, and really good, better piece of hitting. No, I think with Lance Lynn just so big and strong, I don't think it's going to be such an issue.
And I would be of the mind that if you put him in the bullpen, you run the risk of straining his arm in a different way, throwing more often in a week's time.
both believe too that managers take better care of their relievers. They
Agreed.
don't have all the innings where you just pile up there and not make an appearance on the mound. So usually trying to limit guys from warming up 2 and 3 innings or 2 and 3 times and not pitch, but still you would be a lot more active.
And this has been one of those issues for Fernando Salas when he really wasn't pitching quite as well, as finishing a hitter off. 0-2, now 1-2. Is he going to be able to come up with that finishing pitch that he had last year, which led to all the saves that we saw out of the bullpen?
Hey, he led the ball club with 24 saves. There's a good pitch there. You know, in my mind, his best pitch is changeup,
right,
and just consistently has not had the location with it. A lot of times he has taken off enough velocity, but it just, you know, ends up. And there you see the bottom fall out of this one. It throws it in great location, but if it's up above the waist, it really doesn't matter. So Mather will pinch hit.
Joe Mather can't check his swing. Former Cardinal. Batting .230 for Chicago. 4 home runs, 13 RBIs. And another 0-2 count. Now can he finish him off?
There's your new left-hander that was called up today.
That's Jeff Beliveau. The 0-2. Hard hit to center field. Jay on the move, and he makes the play in the warning track. Long way to go for that one.
That was what made it difficult. It wasn't that it was in the middle of the warning track. It was just that the long run that he had to get to it. Playing a little bit over in the right center. He just really has to go back on this ball, but under control. In the last second, reach up with 2 hands. Love to see that.
And you don't want to nitpick on Fernando Salas, but you have to say, not a good pitch 0-2.
I would not think so.
You get the result, but if you're going to reflect on your performance, you're going to want to make that pitch better.
Pitching for Red Shane, DC used to have a $50 fine for 0-2 base hits.
They're going to test the wrong guy again, aren't they? John Jay has played an errorless center field. Time to stretch in St. Louis. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Beautiful afternoon in St. Louis. It's a hot one. And the Cardinals are heating up with their offense. 7-0 lead. We've had our 7th inning stretch. And we're going to have a major league debut here this afternoon. The left-hander Jeff Beliveau from Providence, Rhode Island. The minor league pitcher of the year last year for Chicago.
Attended Florida Atlantic University down in South Florida. Mentioned he was their Cubs minor league pitcher of the year. Originally selected by the team in the 18th round of the 2008 draft.
And he is our Chevy call to the bullpen.
Pretty much gone right up the ladder. Last year at A ball and Double A. This year his first exposure to Triple A, and now the big leagues.
And what will his major league start be like? First pitch as a major leaguer. That's already better than mine. I gave up a home run, so good for him.
Ricky, just think of thousands and millions of young kids that would love to have given up the home run on the first pitch, say they were in big leagues.
I believe Bob Gibson did it too. Holiday is retired. Bang bang play at first.
You know, the last pitch that Bob Gibson ever threw in the big leagues was a grand slam to Pete Lecoq. I saw one game, I remember he hit Pete Lecoq 3 times in a game. First time because he didn't like him, the next 2 because he said, "Why me?"
So he hit him because he didn't like it, then he hit him because he complained about it. He might not have really needed a reason for the 3rd time. Popped up on the right side. Rizzo shades his eyes from the sun. Out number 2. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, by the way, I saw Gibby hit him in an old timers game too.
Not surprised.
Pete Lecoq, whose father was
Peter Marshall.
Peter Marshall. What was it? Celebrity Squares or what?
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares. Played with Pete in Kansas City.
Beliveau hoping for a 1-2-3 inning in his debut, pitching to the World Series MVP David Freese.
Doesn't seem to be phased yet, has he?
Sure doesn't. Been a strikeout pitcher in the minor leagues.
And why not? Just come out here, act like you belong. No big deal.
.355 minor league strikeouts going into this season in 270 innings. So he strikes out a ton of batters. Started a little bit as a minor leaguer, but he's found his way to the big leagues out of the bullpen. Good for him. The 0-2 is high. He's not very big either. Like Travis Wood, the starter, he's listed at 6'1",
197.
I don't know about that.
Well, he's a little more than Travis Wood, but maybe a little bit taller, but not much.
Base hit David Freese, his first hit of the afternoon. He's already walked twice, but on base 3 out of 4 times.
Might have had his heart into it, but his rear end wasn't.
Well, the heart is all he needed.
That's right. But David really has been having a tremendous on-base percentage. There's a lot of walks. Had 2 of them today. Now he gets his first hit. But there you can see him just reaching for that outside pitch. Got enough of it to push it through the right side.
About a 4-hit afternoon for Jon Jay. Trading deadline approaching. A lot of speculation about the Cubs starters in game 1 and 2 of this series, Dempster and Garza. Cardinals hit Dempster pretty well in the first inning of game 1, though he settled down and pitched well. Garza developed a strain here yesterday of his tricep. And it'll be interesting to see if the Cardinals do anything in the next couple of weeks. And as we say every year, as we get to that July 31st date, it doesn't mean a team won't make a deal after that date. It just gets harder.
It's harder. Players have to go through waivers. That's an interesting process in itself.
Ground ball to left side. This could be hit number 4, and it's going to be. Jon Jay, a 4-hit afternoon.
Well, we were saying that table setters, for Carl, he's starting to pick up the pace the last 2 games. Now Jon Jay starting to find it. From the 7th inning on, he's had 5 consecutive hits, 4 RBIs. 7th inning of yesterday's game. We're high now for Jon Jay with his 4 hits. Chris Maloney, Cardinals' new first base coach. Many years for Hammer as the manager of the AAA team. And with the Tony Cruzes, the Jon Jays, the Scalzo Greens, all these young players going through Memphis, he's got to get a great sense of pride to see the success they're having, knowing he was a part of it.
Well, we had a visit during our telecast from Kirk Spain, who is the chaplain for the team in AA Springfield, so he knows a lot of the players that have made their way up to St. Louis, and so many people, coaches, college coaches, friends, and all the folks that you meet in the minor leagues, former teammates. They just very happy for guys when they get to the big leagues. It was almost lost in the sun, that ground ball by Barney, but he makes the play. On to the 8th. All Cardinals. Sports Midwest. Let's go to Pat Paris in our studio, and he has a Bommarito sports update. Pat? Central Division starting to play pretty well at the top of that division. Pirates may be for real. I think the Reds certainly are. And it's going to be very interesting over the next 70 games. Cardinals going for the sweep today, but the Pirates did sweep Miami in a 3-game series. They outscored the Marlins 12-4, and the Reds about the same with Milwaukee. So everybody meaning business here. Cardinals 5 games behind Cincinnati and 4.5 behind Pittsburgh.
Always interesting to look at what the top 3 teams in the Central Division do in the division. Cincinnati 23-15, Pittsburgh 22-13. Cardinals, they win this one 24-20.
That's the difference.
That's it. Right there with 7 more losses than Pittsburgh and 5 more losses in the division than Cincinnati.
So a second inning for Fernando Salas. Does that surprise you?
It does for me. Now, he hadn't pitched since July 17th. Zepchinski is warming up, but I thought they would spread this around a few more guys. The final 3 innings, keep everyone a little sharper.
We saw Browning, Marte, and Rosenthal yesterday.
Marte only threw a third of an inning.
Boggs, Zepchinski, and Mott pitched in game 1.
Boggs hasn't pitched since July 20th. Farabrani the 21st. That was yesterday. Marte just a third of an inning yesterday, and he hadn't pitched in a week.
Freese has that one. Friday, August 3rd. Don't miss out on the opportunity to add Hall of Famer and Cardinals legend Bruce Sutter to your bobblehead collection. Put it right next to your Al Roboski bobblehead. I think it'll fit perfectly there. 25,000 fans entering with a ticket will receive a Sutter bobblehead presented by Coca-Cola and Deerbergs. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cardinals.com. Let's see. I've got Brock. I've got Jay Randolph. I have Adam Wainwright. I have Albert. I have Roboski.
Without a head.
Yeah, it's a little.
I saw you on a post-game show a few years ago. You broke my neck.
I just wanted to see how far the head would twist. That's all. Nothing malicious about it at all.
Oh no, nothing. Broken neck and head in real life, and you just want to make it real.
You're not saying I caused it, I hope.
No.
Okay.
On the bobblehead you did. I saw it. Witnessed it. Chinsky may have the 9th inning as the first 2 hitters are left-handed. That's assuming that Salas retires Soriano. And he does.
Quick, easy inning for Fernando Salas. 2 scoreless innings out of the bullpen. They've out-hit Chicago 11-5, including a couple of home runs. Our Nissan drives of the game, back-to-back home runs, Holiday and Beltran. Looking forward to that 82 reunion weekend. First weekend in August. So many good players. Many of the players will be back here. Bruce Sutter, of course, will be here. Dave LaPointe, Jim Cott, Keith Hernandez. Ken Oberkfell.
He's still managing?
I believe he's coaching. He's coaching an independent team, I believe. And he's going to call in sick that day and head back to St. Louis.
Be worth it.
There'll be other players from that team, of course, who are still having duties and can't leave.
Shame to see George Hendrick, who's coaching for Tampa Bay, so he will not be here.
He will be occupied.
One of my favorites. Silent George is anything but silent.
And of course, Ozzie will be here. I think I forgot to mention his name. Got to take him for granted because he's around a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have Ozzie back. See him around the ball club more.
You bet it is.
Frequently.
Second inning for Beliveau, making his major league debut. Gave up a couple of Cardinal hits in the 7th inning, but was unscathed beyond that. Descalzo 1 for 3.
That baseball hotbed, Rhode Island.
I saw where he was the Rhode Island Player of the Year, and I kind of had a little snide comment about that and just kind of kept it to myself.
And he could very well become the best one ever, but not like you hear a lot of players come out of that state.
Dave Collins played a year with the Cardinals, and he got a hit. I believe I was up in Montreal when he was a Cardinal, and they flashed on the scoreboard that he just became the leading guy for hits that was born in the state of North Dakota, either North Dakota or South Dakota. And boy, did we have fun over that one. Base hit to left.
Roger Maris was born in North Dakota, but you know he lived in Fargo, and he was a pretty good one.
Must have been the other Dakota then.
Your all-time hit leader from California or New York, or Florida, Arizona,
and Georgia now.
Texas, Georgia.
Swing and a miss, and we do have it confirmed. And I know it's an important stat on everybody's mind, and one you're never going to want to forget, that Dave Collins does have the most career hits of anybody born in South Dakota. Mark Ellis and Jason Kubel are coming after him.
How about Kubel, who passed Beltran for National League lead in RBIs?
Kubel for the Arizona Diamondbacks had 3 home runs last night. Carpenter jammed. Cardinals, we mentioned earlier, have won 12 of their last 16 games against the Cubs here at Busch Stadium. And they're well on their way to making that 13 out of 17. Cubs will have LaHare, Clevenger, and Barney in the 9th.
Can't move those next 2 series back to St. Louis against the Cubs.
I think there's a rule against that.
Cardinals will be in Chicago next weekend. That'll be a great time had by all Cubs and Cardinal fans.
Kyle McClellan in the Cardinals dugout.
Sign autographs Friday night in the Ford Plaza as his season is through, having shoulder surgery.
Popped up on the left side towards the Cubs dugout. Battling the sun is Valbuena. Got a Twitter question, Al, as to what kind of reception we think Keith Hernandez will get here at Busch Stadium for their reunion.
Get a very
weekend.
good one.
I would think so.
Too many years have passed.
And he was, such a good player.
I have some great Keith Hernandez stories because I got a chance to play with him when he very early in his career when he was basically a pinch hitter. Keith had an ability to shower very quickly and redress, as many times he'd pinch hit, and then they decided to put him in defensively, and he'd be in the shower. And there was a few
It's a rare ability that we don't talk about often enough, a player's ability to shower quickly
and get redressed. And there were a few times he ended up going back on the field, shampoo still in his hair, but he had his uniform on correctly.
I'm going to have to ask him about that. I had not heard that. 0-2 to Tyler Green.
Somehow you think Santa was looking down on the ceremonies, but I think that speech would have been priceless.
I understand on Twitter a couple of comments of people saying that the acceptance speech given by his widow was the best they've ever heard.
Really, that's great.
Cooperstown. Pitch catches the bottom of the zone.
Never met his widow, but I've met his son several times. Good job by Salas, and Schumacher will pinch hit for his spot in the order. Sepchinski continues to warm. He'll take over the ninth. Scott Main at least throwing in the Cubs bullpen.
Schumacher's been 3 for 14 as a pinch hitter.
It was big in last night's game.
Sure was. A couple of RBIs, a triple in the 7th inning, then a double in the 7th inning. His triple to me was a big hit hit in that game.
Well, that was Fakal got the Cardinals on the scoreboard with his RBI single, but then it was the 2-run triple by Schumacher. Gave him a little cushion, and then in the 7th, and then also in the 7th inning, that an RBI double, scored 2 runs himself, drove in 3 in the 7th, 2 extra base hits.
Dodgers come into town tomorrow, 4-game series. Kelly 1-2 with an ERA under 3. We'll go for St. Louis. Chad Billingsley is 4-9 for the Dodgers.
And the Mets came back and tied that one up. They're playing extra innings now, 3-3. Hopefully they'll go about 20.
That would be good. Dale Swain pops out of the Cubs dugout. We're going to have a pitching change. He's called for the reliever. So we'll go to break. Cardinals lead 7-0. Maine on to face Matt Holliday, and it just shows how short the Cubs have been on the right side of their bullpen. They optioned out Rafael Dolis today. Manny Corpus has pitched a couple of times lately and not very well. Camp, the most appearances, up among the leaders with most appearances in the National League, and Justin Germano had to go 3 innings. And Carlos Marmol, we have not seen him.
Marmol pitching well again, losing his closer role for a while.
I was anxious to watch him pitch, although you don't really want to see him pitch because that means it's game on the line, safe situation. But the new deal with him where he's not allowed to shake signs. And if he does shake, he gets fined. And it's happened once already where he actually shook a sign from the catcher and they fined him.
I totally disagree with that.
I'm just the messenger.
Yeah, I know, but
I'm with you.
There's
though.
a reason why they're doing it. And,
I know.
But
well, they felt like he wasn't trusting his fastball. 2-0, fastball to Matt Holliday is at the knees, 2-1. Holliday a double and a homer already this afternoon. A chance to add to that. His numbers just keep getting better and better. 321 now. Batting average for Holliday. Keeps climbing up that leaderboard, doesn't he?
You know, he had I think he came in with his 7th best. When he was batting 319, he's had a couple points to it. But remember, he had the 15-game hitting streak. That was stopped. Now he's added 3 more.
He's got a ways to climb to get to the guys in the top 6, however. They're all way up there, including Andrew McCutchen, who's at 371. Melky Cabrera is at 357. Carlos Ruiz, David Wright, Joey Votto all in the 340s.
Ruiz just continues to hit for the high average.
Rough year for Philadelphia, though. 3-2 the count. Holliday at the plate, 7-0 St. Louis. And he walked it.
Ricky could have made a case that we probably should have seen Marmol in this game. He hadn't pitched since July 18th.
Well, and you also think about the right-handers that, I mean, he could have come on to face Holiday.
He did have a scoreless inning on Friday night. And Marmol has picked up his last 10 consecutive save opportunities.
Popped up towards second base. Barney has it. Cardinals are retired in the 8th. On to the 9th. Looking for the sweep.
To the 9th in St. Louis. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Cal Eldred will do the honors. The Cardinal bats stay hot. They'll recap the offensive onslaught. They'll take a look at Lance Lynn and how he made use of the strikeout today, and another edition of Mic'd Up as well. Mark Zepchinski on the hill for the Cards now as we go back to the booth. And Ricky and Al, guys.
Thanks, Cat. Appreciate your work. And look forward to the post-game show. Mark Zepchinski could make this a perfect weekend. He's able to retire the Cubs. The Cardinals could hardly have played better against the Cubs so far in this series. The Cubs have scored 22 fewer runs. Cardinals with a 7-0 lead in the 9th, and Zepchinski looking to close it out, and that would be 19, 20, 21. I'm thinking that's 24 scoreless innings in a row if he can get this one for Cardinal pitching.
Zepchinski really needs to kind of get himself, and it has been better of late, but still batters are batting nearly 300 against him, more hits than innings pitched. He's allowed 6 home runs in 31 innings. And it's all about his slider and pitching ahead in the count. Pitching behind an awful lot. An opportunity here to kind of work on those things.
Good pitch there.
Good sinking action in his fastball, and his slider is good when he stays on top of it. But getting underneath it a little bit and it flattens out. It's all about pitching ahead in the count, too.
Lined right to David Freese. Boy, he's been played the perfect position all afternoon. We've had 3 or 4 of those right at David Freese, and he seems to have had the right defensive position every time. Last time the Cardinals had 2 consecutive shutouts of the Cubs. It was June 9th and 10th, 1989.
Think about it, too. The one run that the Cubs have scored this series was off of Loesch Friday night, a leadoff walk. The only walk he gave up in the game, and it came around to score. And that's not Kyle Loesch. So pitching been so consistent.
Skip Schumacher stayed in the game to play left field, and the ball found him.
Sinking line drive out there, but a good fielder, and he makes the play.
John Jay, 4-hit afternoon. We're going to give him our Budweiser Player of the Game.
No problem with that.
He'll take it.
John Jay. 2-run double back in the first, then 3 consecutive singles. His first career 4-hit game, and Cubs are back to their last hope.
And it's Darwin Barney, who's 1 for 2. Big crowds all weekend long. 42,411 here this afternoon, urging their Cardinals onward.
I have to say the Cardinal fans had a lot more fun than the Cub fans, but everybody always has a good time when these two great franchises come together.
Agreed.
Cubs, who haven't won for so long, it was 103 seasons since they've won a world championship, but they truly admit they're going through a rebuilding phase now. Kind of teased their fans the last decade or so.
Ground ball to third. Freese has it, and it's a Cardinal winner. 7-0 St. Louis. And the Cardinals sweep Chicago. And they did it with good pitching